Um, Favorite world. Now here is a difficult question again, because I really love the world of the Dark Eye from the standpoint of a reader and player, but it is so freaking complex. As a GM, it's highly daunting. This setting has been worked on by so many people for longer than I've lived, and when I try to GM the Dark Eye, especially when it's not in the wilderness like the Auckland campaign, but even there, I feel that the task is daunting to get all the details right, because there's so much. You can't really you can't really tell, but this entire shelf here, that's just the descriptions of the various regions. There's no rules in that, and that's, I think it's, I'm not sure how many pages it is, but it's I think 15 to 16 books, A4 pages with I would say usually 300 pages or something. And then there's periodical which has information about it. There's history books, and for God's sake, there's even prayer books for each of the religions now. For each god, rather. So it's very hard to portray the world right without, I don't know, making your masters in the game world. Favorite die. What is my favorite die? This D20. Not because I like D20s very much. This one is the one that was in my first, or in the boxed set of the Dark Eye that I got from my cousin. I don't know if it's the original die that came with that box, but I don't think at the time he would have got his hand on any other D20, so I'm pretty sure it's the genuine article. Miniatures or theater of mind. When I was younger, as I said, I did a bit of Hero Quest, so there's miniatures, and I did paint a couple of them. Though I don't know, that didn't really. I didn't play it for the miniatures. Later, I got into BattleTech very strongly, which I also didn't get into because of the miniatures. I did paint a couple of them, not very good, but I mostly did it for the setting, and I don't know, the mathematics behind it really intrigued me. I know that sounds strange and rather boring, but well, that was I when I was younger. Worst critical glitch or failure in a game. Well, this one I'm drawing a blank because I don't tend to think of botches in that way anymore. I know in the beginning, when I was a player, I often thought of them, but I felt that they were kind of, yeah, they weren't very interesting, I thought. And at some point I changed that, and I decided if it's going to be bad for me, then I make the best out of that, and by that I mean the best story. And this is what I will tell you, because it basically was the thing that was the worst result for our group, for the and that was in a werewolf game. We had been fighting in the Umbra against some plague spirit. I think it was a giant worm or something. Not worm with an not with a, but rather with an O, so a worm. So, and this thing had basically attacked me with some kind of slime attack or something, and I didn't get away, but rather got right into that stream, and so I was corrupted. So suddenly I found my character to be a servant of the worm, which, because the characters didn't know that, we had an interesting scene where they wanted to heal me, and for some reason my character knew that if they would heal me, then they would kind of remove the taint. And so I ran off, and I think at the time the group was so injured that they couldn't really follow me, and our pack leader, who was the only one who was fit enough, tried to catch me, but her character only has one part of her lung still working because the other one is ruptured, so she couldn't keep up either. And the first thing I did was I got into the real world and destroyed our transportation, our car. I destroyed our belongings. Then because we had kind of a mind link through our totem spirit, I knew that he was coming to take me down and bring me to the others. So I went to a place where we had found another plague spirit, which we thought we best stay out of, because it wasn't directly in the path that we were taking, in the hopes that I could kind of team up with that. And actually that worked, and for the rest of the game we didn't have contact with our totem, and we didn't even know if it still existed. Yeah, and then I think our pack leader found me, and the dumpster that I tried to throw at her didn't hit her, and she could take me down. So yeah, that's one role that probably had the most negative effect on the group where I was concerned. Yeah. Best critical success in a game. I don't know. Again, it's more cinematics than really, or rather, this one is more for the cinematics of the entire thing. It was a strange series of critical successes with my favorite character, the Dark Eye character, where whenever I ran into battle, so when two sides of a battle got at each other, charging, and in that system you could say, I want to make a deadly attack, which meant that depending on your skill you had to roll a D20 and get under, I think with me it was a 3, depending on how good you are, it's somewhere between 1 and 3. And if you don't, you miss entirely. So the chances are very slim. And this worked every time I did that. I charged at the enemy lines, and the first person that came across me got decapitated. I don't know how that worked as far as probability is concerned, but it definitely strengthened his face in the gods, and that he had a destiny. Didn't matter to him that most often he would be taken down by the second enemy and had to be rescued by his friends. He got to take down the first person in one stroke. So, yeah. Favorite class or type of character to play? Well, that one I can't really say. I think most of my characters that I like to play for a long time are people that operate within the established order, but are slightly on the rebel side. Not full blown out. We need to take this whole society down and rebuild it in a new model, but rather well, it has its good point. We need to keep those around and change the rest, which probably tells you much about how I tick. Yeah, so as far as gaming classes are concerned, I think I've played almost anything. Okay, least favorite class of character to play. The worst concept that I can think of that I ever came across is bards in D&D. Not that I have anything against playing a musical character. And I wouldn't even have something against bards if I would have an explanation why they can do magic. But as D&D is a system without a setting, I don't get why that is connected, why any bard needs to have magical powers. Yeah, that kind of bugs me. Okay, one system you've never played but want to. Here again, I had a bit of thinking, and I thought maybe Traveler, but again, I like the idea of Traveler, but I'm not sure I would precisely like playing it that much for a long run. I don't know. But then my mind came to something else that I was very intrigued by when I read it, and that's Gemini. And I think it's a Scandinavian role-playing game, a very dark and gritty one, where you have the elves are kind of a insectoid, hive mind-like culture. The dwarves are all mutated and tainted by the dark forces. Demons are about to rip open the doors to the world. An oppressive church kills anyone they suspect might be of bad influence, and the kind of let God sort them out types. And because of this brutality of the church, you have an secular faction that has rebelled against the church and that is in total denial of the truth about the demonic forces and the nature of magic, and any magician is inherently becoming evil but just by the use of magic. So this is a very, very dark and gritty setting that I would like to explore at some point. But the game is discontinued for, I think, as long as I've been out of school, so... if you were to create yourself as a character, what would your class be? I would probably be, I don't know, a dilettante. Not in any particular setting, but I think the word is fitting. Okay, and here we come to the end. Who are you to tag? There's a lot of people in the YouTube RPG Brigade, or rather the community, not to offend anyone. But I think most of them will be tagged by someone. So I want to tag some people that I don't think people will tag. And these are people that were around when I started, or at least shortly after. So I would like to, maybe they don't even see the videos, I don't know. So I would like to see Durbran, or Brady, formerly Penguins 23, 32 Penguins 23, something like that. I don't know the numbers. Then the traitor Desardis, or as he was later known, Bland Humanoid. I would like to see him again. Tower Guard DM, I would like to see him return. Webhead 123. Again, I'm not sure about the numbers. And as a fifth choice, you. You are looking at the screen. Do response. The questions are in the video description. Yeah, so that's it. I'm not entirely sure. Let's look how... Okay, so this is going to be a 2-video thing. yeah, see you around.